name is Corey Lear. Welcome to the Senior Podcast Show. We are so excited to bring you another episode here today. We have the Director of Business Development, Christina Loukas. She is with the Oakmont Senior Communities. Welcome, Christina.
Hi, Corey. Thank you for having me today.
Christina is, and I should say her community is one of our network partners. So we have a bunch of different network partners where we help our clients connect with, whether that's community living or whether that is, like you've seen in the past, our senior real estate specialist, Medicare specialist. We have a huge network, and Christina is a part of that with Oakmont Senior Communities. We are so happy to have her here. We have a really interesting topic to talk about today, and that is respite care. I think there are a lot of misconceptions about what respite care is, and I think that there are a lot of questions surrounding it too. But before we get into all of that, I would like our audience to get to know Christina a little bit better. Christina, you have been in the senior living industry for a little bit. Can you tell us about how you
How it started?
Yeah,
So my name is Christina Loukas. I'm the Business Development Specialist with the Oakmont Senior Communities. And it's really funny, actually, Corey. I was preparing for today, and I was thinking about how long I've actually been in the senior industry. And it's been, this year will be 17 years.
That can't be right.
17 years. So, which is really close to 20 years, which is, it's crazy to think that much time has gone by.
It's crazy to think in your life too, when you're like, I've been doing anything for 20 years because I'm clearly not that old.
Clearly not that old at all. So, but yeah, so it's been kind of a wild ride, really fun. So I actually started when I was 18, and I started washing dishes in a nursing home in St. Clair Shores. So it actually, if you're familiar with it, it was Sisters of Bon Secours, and then it was absorbed by Premier Management, which is an affiliate of Beaumont Health System. So I worked in the kitchen and did a lot of different things in that community, ended up in a corporate marketing role, doing corporate marketing for all 5 of their locations at the time. And then I did a short amount of time doing private duty home care, about a year. To which I was actually contacted from a previous administrator of mine who had asked me if I wanted to open up a location in Shelby Township, a skilled nursing facility. And so I was there for almost 7 years. And I did a whole different list of things. But really it was hospital liaison work, verifying insurance benefits, focused on primarily the short-term rehab with long-term care placement as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, which I know you as a therapist have a lot of experience in that too. So, you see a lot of different things. So I really enjoyed that. But then I had the opportunity to come and, join the Oakmont family. And I had really kind of thought, I had spent the majority of my career working in skilled nursing, that it would be a great opportunity to move into a different facet of the industry and be able to service our seniors more in lifestyle and that next chapter of life. So it's been really fun, and I'm really excited about all the knowledge I've already gained and what I still can, learn in the next 17 years. So, so it's kind of crazy.
That is super interesting, and I think it's amazing what happens when you just take, you're like, oh, I'm just going to take a simple job when you're young. And then when you go and you reflect on that, like what it's turned into.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to school at Wayne State downtown, and I would commute and do classes at night. And it was, it just kind of always kept my heart in geriatrics. So it's been good.
Yeah. Well, obviously you have a lot of knowledge because, like you've said, you mentioned skilled nursing, you mentioned senior living, and kind of all of those different components within those 2 categories. So we're really happy to have you here to be able to talk about respite like we talked about. So can you tell us what the basis of respite care is, and maybe why someone would choose to go that route?
Yeah. So, I think when we think about respite, by definition, it's really a relief from our everyday. And so that's paraphrasing here what the real definition is. But with a respite stay, I really think that it ends up falling into 2 different buckets, 2 different categories. It's either a stay for a caregiver themselves, or for the individual or the resident. And when we look at what the caregiver, a stay for a caregiver is, I don't have ailing parents, at this stage of my life, fortunately. But I do have a brother who's severely impaired, and he has cerebral palsy. So he's not able to walk, talk, or, toilet, or any of those activities of daily living for himself. And so I've really watched my parents, especially my mom,
Absolutely.
be that primary caregiver. And so, that's what I love, is that I still have that connection to what that's like. And so, he's 34 years old, and 34 years of being a primary caregiver like that, I've seen caregiver burnout.
Absolutely.
And, that's something that's so real and so prevalent in caregivers that are dealing with aging parents, or aging aunts and uncles and things like that. And oftentimes they don't take any time or solace for themselves, whether it's emotionally or, physically, just being able to have a space to themselves. Absolutely. Yeah. And so oftentimes what we'll see then kind of in that category are people that are having an individual stay in a community so that they can kind of have that time for themselves, that relief. That can look like a week so that they can get on an airplane and go on a vacation, or even just go to a family wedding, for a night, and then have a couple days at home to, in the summer plant or read a book or anything like that. I think it's really important that people know and recognize and remove the guilt from that a lot of times.
That's amazing that you said that, because if you are a caregiver or you've done even just care for someone else for a little bit that you care about, you do have that guilt. Yeah. You don't even want to say, like, hey, can you make dinner for this person, because you feel like it's all your responsibility and you have to do it all.
And it's hard for, I think, to your point, I think it's really hard for people to say that it's a burden in any sense, because they feel like it's taking away from them really loving or caring about the person. But it's a reality that, sometimes when you're a caregiver, there's a lot of weight and responsibility held on you. And so, I think that's first and foremost one of the most important parts about why respites really exist, why those short-term stays are there. And then when you kind of switch gears and you look at an individual going into a community, you're really looking at more so a couple different things, reasons why they would need it. Number one is always a stay and play, right? It's a really great way to taste a community, see if senior living is what you would want for yourself.
Interesting.
So, you can do that. It can be even a couple days, a full week, really see if living in a community setting or that specific community is what you would like to have. And I think that's always a really nice way to see if that's the right environment for yourself.
That's a great idea, actually. And I don't even know if a lot of people know that they are able to even do that.
No, I don't think they are. I think they just think, oh, I'm going to move into a senior living community.
You're either in or you're out.
So, and another part of that is something that a lot of people can take advantage of is more of bridging that gap from like a hospital stay or a skilled nursing facility in an independent living such as Oakmont. And that can look like directly an individual coming from the hospital to an independent living community in the instance that they maybe had a fall, an illness that has brought them there, and their insurance may not qualify them to go to a skilled nursing facility for any number of reasons.
Or they just cut them.
Yep.
The insurance companies are cutting people sooner than ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think families, especially like you said, they're feeling that. They're unsure how to fully take care of that person like they need it. The person themselves is too scared to go home alone yet. They don't feel like they've had enough time.
Exactly. And so like that is what we'll see. So, you'll see it an opportunity where someone can come directly from the hospital. And they'll do therapy with what's the therapy that's on site at the community.
That's amazing too.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that is in a lot of independent living communities such as ours. In addition, if you're coming out of a skilled nursing facility, to the point you made, as an insurance cut, someone might not fully feel that they're ready. They live independently at home, but they just don't have the tools in their toolbox to go home feeling safe and secure.
Everybody has support.
No, they don't. And that's a lot of time. I mean, that's a reality, right?
That is.
And so communities that have a respite stay, someone can come in, they can do a respite and continue to do that therapy until they're fully confident to go back home. And so like you said, Corey, I don't think a lot of people really know that it's there in that way. So
basically, two sides to respite. You can see it from the caregiver side, like you said. You're a full-time caregiver. Maybe you want to go on vacation. Like you said, maybe there is a wedding. Maybe you just need a couple of days to paint the house or get new carpet or just fix some things that you've been needing to fix. Like, there are options to stay. When I think about it like that, do you find, like, is a question that someone should ask if they go into a community that offers respite? Should they say, are there minimums? Like, do they say you have to stay 2 weeks or you have to stay? Obviously, it varies.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So if someone is actually on hospice, they are able to, through their Medicare benefit, they're able to stay at a skilled nursing facility every 30 days for a 5-day respite at no charge in a skilled nursing facility.
Okay.
So that's really nice. And if you are a caregiver or someone that is on a hospice program, it's always important to make sure that you're talking about that with your
provider.
The social worker that you're working with. And then also, if you're looking at it from an individual side, a lot of communities will have a minimum. Typically, it's about anywhere from 5 to 7 days is a minimum.
Okay.
Sometimes it can look like 2 weeks. It just really depends on the individual community. And typically, the maximum of that is 30 days.
Okay.
But, communities are always willing to work with people. And so, just like we are. So if somebody wanted to extend that or needed it just a little bit shorter, people certainly are flexible to that and the need.
I think that's amazing. What if I wanted to drop my husband off? I'm just playing.
We'll take your husband. Well, we are at our community.
Sorry, James.
Yeah. Not your kids, though, right?
Yeah,
so
no,
not
love
your
them.
children.
I'll keep those
Yes. Yeah, but no, if someone can come and stay, I mean, if he's interested, absolutely.
Take me instead.
How old is he?
Take me instead.
Oh,
Yeah, he might not meet the minimum
No,
age
he might
requirement. That's true. That's a good point. So if they said, okay, I need 5 days, please, can you tell me, if they come to a community to get respite, what exactly are they getting?
Yeah. So a lot of time in a situation in an independent living community, someone is going to get, for a respite stay, they're fully furnished apartments in most cases.
Okay.
And this is generally speaking. They're fully furnished apartments. A lot of times communities, if somebody does need any durable equipment, so like a hospital bed or anything like that, that can be brought into the space.
Okay.
In most cases. And then from there, all of their meals are included. So that'd be breakfast, lunch, and dinner, any housekeeping, laundry, anything like that. And then outside of that, the therapy is picked up under the insurance.
Wonderful.
Any visiting physician would be there on site if they wanted to utilize the one that's in the community, or they can, of course, go out to their own. A lot of communities also, which is something people don't always know up front, is that they'll provide transportation, typically free of charge, to any medical appointments that somebody has. So if they have to follow up with an orthopedic or a primary care, they can do so, and the community itself is typically the one that's providing that transportation for them.
That is amazing because, like you said, from working in that skilled nursing standpoint, like if someone needed to go and their family couldn't take them,
absolutely,
it is so expensive.
Mm-hmm. It is. And oftentimes, I mean, if you think about the adult child that's helping, somebody in a community, they're typically working, this 9 to 5 as well, or they have children that they have to help as well. So it's a really great resource.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah. And then you're surrounding that person who needs the care with lots of people who know what they're doing.
Yes, and additional resources. So that's a really good point that you just pointed out. Additional resources in the community that may be at home that they're not recognizing that are even available to them. And it's so different in an independent living community opposed to a skilled nursing facility, right? In independent living, the community is able to talk to you about all of the things that are even right there in senior living and take away that stereotype, right? Like a lot of people have a stereotype of communities. So it really relieves that.
Yeah,
so.
I think too, even if people just visit, because I do think you should be going on tours of these places that you're looking for respite care in, and you'll see the difference yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And we all talk about it, right? They're not what our grandmas might have thought of a facility like they are today. So
I have another general type question for you.
Absolutely.
And obviously I know this varies by region, state, all of those things. But if someone needed respite care, do you know about how much that would cost? And it's not usually covered by insurance either, unless, like you said, like in a hospice type of situation. Yeah,
so hospice is one of the only situations that it would be covered under an insurance. Outside of that, it is a private pay cost.
Maybe auto,
It could be auto as well. You're right.
Even not typical.
It's not so typical with people that we're seeing coming in for a respite stay.
Yeah.
But with that, there is typically a daily cost attached to a respite stay.
Sure.
It ranges about $150 to $200 a day. And what will happen with that is under that umbrella of that cost is everything that the community will provide for somebody. The therapy is covered by their insurance. And then any private duty care that they may need would be a separate cost.
Okay, so what that means, well, I mean, if you think about it, you just said $150 to $200. That's basically how much it costs to stay in a hotel.
Yes, exactly.
However, you're getting all of your meals, so that's cheaper right there.
Yeah, and laundry. I think laundry is a huge part, right?
Yeah, it is a huge part. And then as far as care goes, so like let's say like you mentioned, like what if I fell and I broke my leg and I did a rehab stay, but I needed to come to you because I was a little nervous to go home. I still need a little bit of help when I'm walking because I'm scared. So if they needed that extra, what sort of questions should they ask?
So asking questions just like you've set them right now, being very transparent about what your needs are and what level of care you're currently at. The community that you're looking at going into a respite, especially if you're coming from like a hospital or a skilled nursing facility, should be having somebody come out and do an assessment. And that assessment is going to be by someone on the care team, and then also an assessment by the therapy that would be providing your recovery. And during that assessment, they're going to really be able to talk to the individual about where they're at currently, what their new baseline is, so what their needs are. Is it medication management? Is it a help with a shower once a week? Those sort of things. And then they're able to go over what that cost attached to that would look like. But asking the question, is someone going to come out and do an assessment? I think is really important if they have a care need at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think a lot of the time, like if you are coming from hospital or if you're coming from skilled rehab, they're going to give you that discharge paperwork that you should absolutely be sharing with a potential respite provider. That way they'll be able to read it and make a lot of sense of it, maybe understand it a little more fully, and then be able to sort of lay out a plan like that.
Yeah.
So,
I think also too, Corey, is asking about medications. Is the community,
that's a huge one.
Yeah, is the community able to, does it have a pharmacy on site? That's a great question to ask as well, because you're going to need all of your medications and things like that.
Yeah, that's a great point. And too, I'm just looking here. Beyond the care, and obviously, like you said, like a lot of the places who are going to offer respite are going to have like caregivers available who are going to create that plan for how many days you need to stay there. So if you need help walking to the dining room, they'll help you do that. Showers, they can help you do that. They can help you.
And that would go through the care team.
Yeah. That would go through whatever provider they have with that care.
Correct. Yes.
But beyond that, so let's say beyond the care, you guys, communities also offer fun and socialization. I can never
Socialization.
Say it. I can never say it. I can never say it.
Because are you not social?
I am social, but I'm telling you, I can't ever say it. I have to think about it in my head. They have the opportunity for you to be able to socialize.
Yes. You did very well. So, yes.
What does that look like?
So
Obviously, every community is different.
Every community is going to be very different, but the majority of independent living communities are going to offer a full calendar of daily activities that are going on and outings if your mobility allows it.
Sure.
To go out and engage with other seniors. And so that is a piece that socially somebody may not be actually having at home. And a lot of times our recovery doesn't just encompass the physical recovery, but it also encompasses us feeling spiritually better, emotionally stable, confident. And all of those things are brought about by being surrounded by others that can help to encourage you to see that maybe those deficits that you thought you had are something that can be worked on, and you are getting stronger, you are getting better. A lot of times I think socially also it can help you to feel as though, or to open your eyes to things that maybe you didn't see before when you were living independently at home, that being around groups of people and doing activities on a daily basis with them, adults in your age range, is something that you really need as part of your full recovery.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Especially if it was like a traumatic accident, like a fall or something like that, like a broken bone. Like, you're really depressed, and it takes a minute for people to like really fully understand exactly what happened to them and to grasp that and sort of move forward in that recovery. And I think definitely being surrounded by people who are like, hey, let's go do this, like that helps a lot.
And there's in communities as well, if you're doing therapy with a therapist, as you would know, right? A lot of times they'll give you things that you can do on your own, right? Yep. So in community settings, there is typically a therapy, a separate therapy exercise area that people can take advantage of to continue to do therapy on their own, right?
So the exercise equipment and things like that.
Whereas at home, they would not have the opportunity to use that.
You don't have access to that. You don't have, or sometimes too, I think you're more inclined to do something if you're like, oh, look at her, she's on that bike. I know I've been needing to do that. I'm going to just get on there too.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that's interesting because, like you said, it's $159 to $200 a night. And so you have access to all of that. Again, like a hotel, right? You're getting meals, you're getting a gym, essentially. And then you're also getting
all of the activities and socialization in the community is amazing. and the ability to have the transportation, a pharmacy on site, a visiting physician there if needed. All of that is right there as a resource for you.
That's incredible. I want to go back to what you said at the beginning too. And you mentioned that sometimes people will use that as a taste of senior living, but they don't necessarily need a lot of care. They just want to use it to say, hey, is this something that I'm going to like? I'm interested in it, but I'm a little scared to just make that leap. How often do you find that if someone comes for respite, they end up saying like, hey, I just want to stay?
I would say about 85 to 90% of the time.
That's a lot.
In our experience, that our respite stays, people that stay for respite move in permanently in our community.
That's amazing.
And two, what's really nice is that we're month to month, that our community, and other communities may be that as well. But with a respite stay, it's just a really great opportunity for you to enjoy senior living without the pressure of feeling like
I have to stay.
Absolutely. Although we all know a lot of people will enjoy it. And obviously, those percentages I would say are probably kind of across the board in the senior industry, that a lot of people find that it is something that maybe is missing in their everyday lifestyle.
I am shocked. That is way higher than I thought. I thought 70% maybe.
No, the majority of they do.
That's incredible.
Or if they don't, and to that, Corey, too, maybe if they don't, they do a respite somewhere, right? They've now had that experience and they have that knowledge base, that real life knowledge base, so that they can take that. So maybe later down the road when they decide that maybe now I'm ready, they've at least know exactly what it's like. So
and they're better prepared. They know what questions to ask.
Absolutely. I think so too.
That I learned so much.
Good.
Thank you so much for telling our audience about respite. Obviously you come from a community, so can you share a little bit more about Oakmont Senior Communities with us?
So Oakmont Senior Communities is Michigan-based, family-owned and operated. It's independent living with enhanced services.
Okay.
There are 5 locations here in Michigan, or total. And those locations are, we have 3 in Macomb County. 1 is in Clinton Township, that's Oakmont Parkway. And 2 are in Sterling Heights, that's Oakmont Sterling and Oakmont Manor. Manor is our completely independent community. And then in Wayne County, we do have 2 locations, one in Northville and one in Livonia. So we're really all throughout the Metro Detroit area.
Yeah.
Which is really nice, especially if you have family that is spread around, but want to continue to stay within the Oakmont family. And we have had that before, families kind of spread around the area. With our communities, they are full apartments with all of the amenities that we've talked about on site. That's a full activities calendar, transportation. We do have visiting podiatrist, physician. All of those are available to you, as well as a pharmacy that we have. We do have an on-site therapy, outpatient therapy clinic that is in our communities as well as an outside provider for all of the care that someone may need if they required it.
That's that enhanced part.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So can you tell me just a little bit more about that briefly?
So any enhanced services, those are services that go through a third-party provider for any of those activities of daily living that we've talked about.
Okay.
So that could be someone that maybe needs assistance with medication management, showers, toileting, escort service down to the dining room. All 3 of our meals are included.
Okay.
So that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Typically, our breakfast is a continental breakfast that we have, and then we have 2 separate seatings for lunch and dinner.
Nice.
Yeah, which is really nice
because
for
not
them.
everybody wants to eat early.
Yeah, absolutely. And, so we are, one of the things that I love is the longevity that we have in our communities. Obviously, I've been working in the industry for a really long time, and you see so many different people, professionals move from place to place a lot of times.
Yes.
You can walk, which is, you want to find the right fit, but you can walk into any one of our communities and find a staff member that's been there for 14, 15 years in housekeeping or in the kitchen.
Huge.
And it is huge. I mean, it says a lot about the company that we have, our organization, and how it really serves both of our staff and our residents and their families. And that's one thing that I absolutely love about working with Oakmont is the community base that we have in our communities. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell us, I know that you said some are all independent, some enhanced.
So we have 5 communities.
Yes.
4 are enhanced, and 1 is fully independent.
And so that means that the additional services that they may need are not available at that one.
So at our Oakmont Manor location, that's fully independent. It does not have a care team that is on site at the community. It does have the outpatient therapy clinic on site as well, though. So that is there, just not that private duty piece.
Sure. Yeah. If someone really loved that community and they had their own, would they be able to have someone like their own private duty caregiver come in?
They would be able to, yes.
That's amazing, because sometimes you don't always, you move in, you don't need a lot of help, but you don't want to leave because you have all your friends there.
Yeah, absolutely. And also what's really nice about that community as well is that it does sit on a campus with Oakmont Sterling right next door. And so people can oftentimes, what'll happen is they continuum of care. So they can just move over to Oakmont Sterling, but stay within the Oakmont family.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I know, just to sort of reiterate, so if someone comes and says, I would like to have a tour of Oakmont, any of the 5, that is available.
Absolutely. So you can come and tour us anytime. We have our assistant directors that are there to serve and are flexible to 7 days a week to tour you, or myself.
Yeah, that's it. Just go in and say, I want a tour with Christina.
Absolutely.
I don't know which community she's at, but can you please tell our audience if they would like more information about Oakmont, where do they go to find that?
So you can go to oakmontcommunities.com to find any of our 5 locations and to get information. You can also find us on Facebook. Each one of the communities is listed on Facebook, but you can also find us as Oakmont Communities, as well as a part of the Senior Network. Yay! Yes, so if you follow Senior Network, you will see our information there as well. And you can always call Corey and ask her for my information. Please. I'd be happy to get in touch with you.
Yes, so you can reach me at kl@theseniormovers.com or by phone at 586-204-8500. Christina, do you have like a main number for Oakmont that you'd like to share with us, or should they just call? I know you listed on the communities. They have like specific communities, but is there a general number?
I would recommend that you can always contact me at telephone number 586-872-0269.
Thank you so much for joining me and talking about Respite. I think it is a resource that a lot of people don't know is available, or they don't know how to go about getting it, or maybe even exactly what it is and how much of a benefit it really can be, especially for that short-term basis. Because going back to what you said at the beginning, caregivers are such incredible people. They are consistently putting someone first.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, just knowing, like we said, again, reiterating, not to feel guilty if that is something, it's available and it's there for you. And I really encourage people to take advantage of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, here as parents need a night out. You know what? So do caregivers, regardless of the age of the person you're taking care of. Everybody needs some time to just take care of themselves and whatever capacity that looks like for them. So I encourage you definitely to ask questions about Respite. If you have more questions about that, you need more information, again, you can reach me at kl@theseniormovers.com, or you can find our information about Oakmont on theseniornetwork.com. Look forward to our next episode. And again, I want to thank Christina for joining us. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you.